3, 2, 1.
And here we are, back again.
Back again.
All right.
We left for just a short time.
So short.
I don't really need my notes yet, I guess.
Yeah, I was just warming up my Commodore here.
What is that?
It's an iPad.
Dude, that's ballin'. Do you like the iPad? Do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's not a brand thing. The discussion we were having earlier, the reason why I have Apple products is because I use Apple Music. Mm-hmm. And that is solely the only reason.
Yeah. And like, we're kind of talking about it. Like, I feel like a lot of Apple stuff is idiot proof.
Yeah.
That's what I really like. So, using the MacBook over there, like Ableton, everything just kind of, like, you can't f it up. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's what I like about it, because one time I went over to help a guy with, so it's the same DAW, but he had a Windows system, and you have to, like, I'm going to sound really dumb, but like install drivers, and you have to make sure that the software is communicating with the computer. And it's with Apple, it just does that shit. It's like, I know what you want to do. Let me just drive. It's kind of, it's like having, remember did you ever, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Total Recall?
Oh, yeah.
With the taxi driver?
Yeah.
That's what Apple is. It just kind of does it for you, and you're along for the ride, and that's kind of nice.
Now, we don't have Apple laptops. We have, like, PC laptops. But
Okay.
But, like, I'm at a point now where the only reason why I have a laptop is to splice my videos. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
And that's what you're using for this?
Yeah, for
okay.
this and for my other page. But yeah, that's it. It's like I have the safest laptop hard drive on earth.
Mm-hmm. Like, don't use it for anything.
Like Trish, you can definitely go through this computer.
Yeah.
Whoever. It's not, you're gonna get bored.
They're gonna have to entrap you with stuff on that.
Yeah. Like, man, you sure do like cats a lot.
That's all it is. Dude, so let's get this week started with a little story, a little trip down memory lane when Jonathan and Brennan first met. And
I'm kind of bummed because I meant to find out the exact date, and now I've forgotten.
Yeah, I could actually probably figure it out. I need to look.
Yeah,
but maybe 2018. Does that sound right?
That sounds right.
Sometime, maybe summer.
I think it was summer 2018.
Hang on. Yeah, because I would have gone and seen. So this is the shirt I was.
Yeah, that's what he was wearing. That's what started the conversation.
Yeah.
Because,
I think, because I went and saw, I think this was the 2018 tour, and this was in like Florida in like June or July or something like that. So it would have been like maybe August or September.
That feels about right.
And like most meetings in the music scene, it happened at the quintessential meeting place, the Wormhole.
The Wormhole. And I think when I first spoke to you, I didn't realize your band wasn't one of the ones playing that night.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had, Trish and I had only been living in that neighborhood for, a few months, and we were kind of hitting up the Wormhole. Mm-hmm. And, I was just jonesing for some local music, and was like, well, it was 3 bands playing, and it was you guys, Lilac, and who was the other band, if you remember? I don't think it was Ember City. I know the 3 of you guys did a lot of shows together.
Yeah,
I don't think it was Ember City. I think it was another band. Oh, it was Hall of the Elders.
Oh, those guys, dude! I love those guys.
Because they're the only ones that had T-shirts. So I still have my shirt. So I bought a shirt from them.
Yeah. That's right.
But anyway, I saw you out on the porch, and you had that Slayer shirt on, and I think we were just, people who don't know me, I will literally talk the paint off the walls. I will talk to anybody. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I think I'd said something to you, and I was kind of not being nice in my beginnings, which I apologize, but
that's okay.
You had on a Slayer shirt, and me being a true metal purist, as they say, quotation marks, I was kind of questioning your Slayerness.
Yeah. Well, I kind of always, I do this kind of thing is like, I don't wear the uniform, like I may, like at some point if I got like a jean patch jacket, I would wear that, but then I would wear like Scottish knickers with it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm always doing something off. So it's not necessarily on you, because if I had this on and then maybe like a studded leather jacket and like black pants, you would have been like, he probably knows what he's talking about. But like right now, I'm wearing this and I'm wearing golf pants.
Right.
So you look at somebody like me and you're like, okay, he got that at like Baby Gap or something. And I don't know why they're selling Slayer t-shirts at Baby Gap, but I think you were right to question my Slayerness.
But I think you threw me for a curve because I asked you like what some of your flavor. Excuse me, your favorite Slayer album was, and everyone's go-to is Rain in Blood.
Yeah,
everyone says Rain in Blood. I think people who've never even heard of Slayer just know to say Rain in Blood.
Yeah,
nothing against that album; it's a great record. And you said Seasons the Abyss, which is my favorite Slayer record. So I immediately knew, all right, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
this guy's not a poser, and we have the same favorite Slayer album. That is a hard sentence to say, by the way, when you've got a cold. Is favorite Slayer album.
Yeah.
Or your flavor album. Yeah. So yeah. Those of you who live in the South, it is pollen season, and it affects me horribly. Yeah. Which is, as you noticed, I shave my beard when pollen season comes. So
it's just like a sham wow.
It literally is.
Pollen.
It becomes a pollen colony. And
who say that? Pollen colony.
Pollen colony.
Favorite flavor apple.
But anyway, but we kind of hit it off there, and then I think that's when I discovered you were playing that night.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And I assumed that you would play Slayer type music. Now I was very happy, obviously, with the style of music you guys played because I've been a fan since, but. It was a nice change because you didn't play one genre of music that I loved, but you play another genre of music that I love, which is more of the influenced of the like. I forgot. I probably had better wording for it then when I was talking to you, but more of the same kind of bands that influenced like Guns N' Roses and Skid Row. I think
we played
metal.
We played a Rose Tattoo. We played Nice Boys. That became a staple of ours because like. It was interesting, just to kind of go back. So my buddy and I, we did go and we saw Slayer down in Orlando. And I kind of told that story last time, the funny story. But that was, I really never listened to like Slayer before that. But his birthday was in January. I knew Slayer was doing their quote unquote finale tour. So I bought he and I a ticket to go. See Slayer in June or whenever it was, and so then because we're going to the show, then I started listening to the bands on the tickets. So like that's when I started listening to like Behemoth. I checked out a couple Testament songs because they were on the bill. I was really familiar with Lamb of God. That was one of the bands. Like Lamb of God works really well when you work out, when you like lift weights. So that's a band that I gravitated to a couple years before that, and then found Slayer. And one of the things that kind of not necessarily was distasteful to me, but like Slayer's kind of, it's all really fast and it's all really like on the edge of falling apart. And I think that's why I gravitated to Seasons of the Abyss, because it was the one album where they did something different.
Yes.
They weren't pushing the pace the whole time. They slowed it down. And that actually kind of goes into what we're talking about today a little bit, but more on that.
We'll get to that.
I liked having this crazy, fast, insane band slow things down. And like, I really liked the song Dead Skin Mask.
And that is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I gravitated to the song so much. I don't really go and watch live performances much, maybe occasionally on YouTube if something pops up, but I went and I found them playing in mid or late 90s playing Dead Skin Mask, and it was so cool to see, you know, an amphitheater full of people watching Slayer, and like something different than just Raining Blood, because I guarantee if you go and you type in Slayer live, first couple songs are all it's going to be Raining Blood on Conan or wherever they played, and like Raining Blood at Bloodfest or whatever. So
yeah, Raining Blood at the Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah. So that's why that's just why I gravitated towards that album, was because it was different, and I like it when bands do different things. And it's not to say that I don't like other Slayer songs. It's just I'm not the guy that's gonna sit down and listen to Raining Blood all the way through.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good one, but
Sure.
I'm with you. And I remember I was already listening to Slayer when Seasons in the Abyss came out, which was 1990. And I was like, now this is my Slayer album. Because I love the one before it, South of Heaven. But Seasons in the Abyss seemed a lot more like structured in that sense, which, by the way, I saw Slayer in 99 and they played Dead Skin Mask.
Hell yeah.
And I was just like,
blown away.
Yeah, that, Skeletons of Society, the song Seasons in the Abyss, those are like my 3 favorite songs on that record. And they're just, I mean, that's just Slayer. And they've done a lot of good stuff since then. But I think to me, that's their pinnacle. That's the album I'm always going to remember them by. I know everyone puts Rain and Blood as their Sgt. Pepper's or their Master of Puppets or whatever. But I think Seasons in the Abyss is just, it's a cover to cover record to me. And I can like, it's one of those where I'll listen to it and go, no, we got to do this again.
Yeah. And I listen to it all the way through. And I kind of pop in and out of metal. I kind of have to be in the mood for it. And I wouldn't say Slayer's like my number one favorite thing to listen to, but I do really like that album. So.
Oh yeah. That's how I am.
So we lucked out.
Yeah, I know. So then,
because I could have been one of those posers. I was like, "Hey, name 3 songs." Like,
or I could have been a jerk and been like,
I think you did say name 3 songs, and I said, "Altar of Sacrifice." I said something else, and then Dead Skin Mask. And you were like, "Oh, you like Dead Skin Mask?" I was like, "I love Seasons in the Abyss," and that's how we clicked.
Total change. I was like, "Man, I am such a jerk." And then, oh, this guy's one of the bands I'm coming to see.
Yeah.
Great, he's gonna be throwing stuff at me from the stage. Well, way to make a friend there, Jonathan. But fortunately, Brennan was very cool as he always is, and we've been buddies since. And we would catch them play anytime we could. But yeah. When we put this on YouTube, I've got the picture of that night when me and Trish took a picture with you, so I'll put it on the...
with the Flying V? I think that was a different night.
No, it was the first night we met. You were wearing that shirt, and we were just standing there, and we just kind of hugged and took a picture.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was a different night.
It was that night.
I thought that was the night we played with Ember City and Lilac.
I'll have to double check.
Yeah, because I think that was like a year or so later.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm still gonna put the picture.
That was a cool show because that was all local bands. That was really fun.
That was fun. I used to love when like the 3 of you guys would play together because we were such good friends with everybody in all 3 bands, and you guys seemed to gel so well together. And yeah, good times. We miss those times. One day we'll all be back in that normalcy of
rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
I think back to those times fondly.
We can all sweat together at the wormhole, and there's always that one dude. He's too old to be at the front of the stage, but he's there with his foot up on the stage, banging his head.
It's you.
Making sure nobody
pushing all the people that paid good money.
Yeah,
out of the
pushing
way.
them back. Like, I know these guys. No, or keeping the guy from the Jinx from rubbing your leg, like he was that time. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like, dude, quit touching him. But anyway, it's been. I'll cheers you on that.
Cheers, buddy.
It's been
fun.
I'm glad we bumped into each other. I'm glad I questioned your Slayerness.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah,
there's for sure. I do for sure have some. Maybe not well-known band T-shirts, but more local band T-shirts where if somebody was like, name 3 songs, I'd be like, I don't fucking know.
And that's fine. That's just kind of a jerk thing for me to do. We used to do that with kids back in my hometown and that kind of leads, and I know I'm getting off tangent, but it's like, we would pick on people for no reason. Like, oh, where'd you get that shirt at Hot Topic? But you think about it, and you've brought this up with the whole Guitar Hero thing. With some of these kids, that's the only place they have to go to get a metal shirt.
Yeah.
So if they go to Hot Topic and they see this cool shirt by this band named Slayer, if it looks cool, they'll buy it, and then maybe they'll go listen to some Slayer music.
Yeah.
You got to kind of give them a chance to, but you can't help what your options are of getting cool shirts.
Right.
So, I have some shirts that I bought from Hot Topic just because they were the only ones that had like that certain shirt before the internet was as fluent, I guess.
Yeah, now you can get everything on Amazon.
Yeah, you can get all on Amazon, but yeah, don't poke fun of the kid who has the metal band shirt from Hot Topic.
Yeah,
that's everyone had their first metal shirt.
That's true. Yeah.
So
I think this was mine.
Oh wow.
No, Death of Kings was my first metal shirt. They're a cool thrash band from Atlanta.
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, that was actually so at that show is where in between acts they put on the house music and Rose Tattoo's Nice Boys came on, and that's where I was like, oh, and that's when and after seeing Slayer, that's when I pivoted into the more like hard rockin' kind of stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
not necessarily. I definitely wouldn't consider myself a metal player. I don't write like any metal tunes, but I call that the heavier side of things because it's a little heavier.
Well, yours is more like on the lines of like Rose Tattoo and Hanaway Rocks and all those bands that I absolutely love, and those bands are the reason you have bands like Guns N' Roses and not necessarily the hair bands, which to me Guns N' Roses and Skid Row, those aren't hair bands, but they were influenced by that music, and it's good music. It's hard rocking, and it is what it is.
It's a good time.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
let's see. Let's check on. Hang on. Oh, good. We're well. I don't have to do any editing this time because I didn't swear.
Good for you.
In the first 10 minutes. So.
All right.
Dude, so pivoting off of thrash bands that slowed it down. That was kind of your theme for this week.
That was.
Shall we see who goes first?
Yeah, I made a. You go first.
I made a little coaster.
Yeah, it's a prototype, but
this is engineering at the highest level.
I mean, I am.
We got coasters, lemons, and records, and
I've got my record coaster with my ginger ale sitting on it. So
that's your soda pop for the week, ginger ale.
Pop, yeah, ginger ale.
All right. So starting things off with number 1.
So that would have been.
So this is Psycho by Post Malone.
Yes.
He and his collaborator Louis Bell, they kind of produced it together and wrote it together, and then featuring rapper Ty Dolla $ign.
Mm-hmm.
So this was released February 23rd of 2018. It debuted at number 2, and then by June of 2018 it reached number 1, and that was its peak placement. What can I say about it? I really enjoy the song. Here's the thing about Post Malone is I didn't like Post Malone at first, and it was not because of his music. I didn't listen to his music at all. I think a friend had showed me one of his like early hit songs, and I just really wasn't into it. And then he started popping up on like my social media and on YouTube, and it was like he would stop shows and he would bring out an acoustic guitar and he would cover bands like Sublime, Nirvana, all these kind of things, like bands like that. And people would, this is no fault of his own. It was, fans of his or people, I don't know, but they would post things like Post Malone is single-handedly bringing back grunge and just really weird statements like that. But then I had to, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I think I interpreted it as him saying it, which he's clearly not. This is a post somebody made.
Yeah.
Maybe it was his media team or whatever, but that's how you get out there. But it would just make me mad because I'd be like, no, grunge is just let grunge, leave it alone.
Yeah, let it go. It's of its time.
Yeah, and also I just didn't get the whole, when you're playing the acoustic guitar, like, how are you bringing back grunge that way? I don't know. It just, anyway, it didn't have anything to do with him. It was just this sort of attachment that I viewed as distasteful. But then I just started listening to his music because he is so popular now. This was a couple, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I actually really started to enjoy it. Now, I'm not the biggest fan by any means, and a lot of his songs they don't gel with me. I'm just not into them. But this one is one of the ones that I really liked, and I gave you a challenge. You had to shotgun or chug a Bud Light before listening to it. How did that go?
Well, I did cheat because I can't stand Bud Light.
Yeah.
So it has to be PBR.
Oh, you cheated. It had to be Bud Light. That's his thing. He's like sponsored by Bud Light.
I know he is. Unfortunately, I know him by his commercials and all that. Sorry, Bud Light is just like,
yeah.
I apologize. I did cheat. I cheated on that one.
Challenge failed.
For
the record.
But I have heard of Post Malone. This is actually the first time I have knowingly listened to Post Malone.
Okay.
So just right off the bat, I mean, and this is probably a statement I'm going to repeat many times during this, but this is really not my style of music whatsoever. It was all right. It had a decent beat. I mean, I had to, and maybe it's just my age, but I had to listen to it a few times with the lyrics in front of me to kind of try to figure some things out. Still haven't figured them all out, but it was all right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like, and I actually made the statement to Trish. I was like, listen to this. It would be the equivalent of me making my dad listen to a Slayer song.
Yeah, just don't quite get it.
Don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not knocking Post Malone or anything. It's just, and not to jump ahead, but this I'll go ahead and tell you, this was the better of the three.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Trish kind of liked the beat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and like I said, I've heard so much about Post Malone, and apparently he's very popular, and you know, if he's getting a lot of fans and he's doing this, I know he did a song with Ozzy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
haven't heard that either.
Yeah, I haven't heard that, but I remember hearing about that.
And I know he's done some covers with some metal musicians during quarantine, and that's cool.
Yeah, and he started out, if I'm not mistaken, I don't typically deep dive the artist, but I'm pretty sure he started out playing in like metal bands. He would like front them and stuff. So
okay, I could see that.
Yeah,
but
he's definitely, that's the thing, is like he's not, when he gets up on stage and he plays a Sublime song or he plays a Pearl Jam song or whatever, like he loves the music. He's not, again, it's not him saying he's going to bring back grunge. That's not his goal with it. He enjoys playing those songs, and I got to give him credit for that. It's cool. And again, kind of going back to the Hot Topic t-shirts and the Guitar Hero thing, is he's exposing a bunch of that crowd to music they may not have heard before.
Yeah.
Maybe less so with Sublime, but still, like, you got to hope for the best with things like that. As long as nobody's walking out of there thinking Post Malone wrote some Black Sabbath songs.
Right.
Yeah. That was another big thing, is when he covered that, I can't remember if it was a Black Sabbath song or an Ozzy Osbourne song, but he covered it, and then social media blew up with like, I don't know who this Ozzy Osbourne guy is, but he needs to be thanking Post Malone for blowing up his spot and stuff like that. And it was just like, it was just really weird. And it's always strange when things like that happen, but you really can't fault people for their ignorance.
Right. I mean, you just don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember that because I think it was when he did that collaboration with Ozzy.
Yeah.
And I think something happened very similarly, and I forgot who the other artist was. And this is probably about 2-3 years ago, but they did a live performance with Paul McCartney, and people were posting on social media about almost the same thing about Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
who's this old asshole? He needs to be getting down on his knees and thanking
whoever,
Joe Jonas or whatever. I don't know.
It's like, oh yeah.
It's tricky, right? Because it's sort of like, there's always going to be somebody better. There's always going to be somebody more popular, and it's hard when these legends are still alive and on the decline in terms of their, not necessarily popularity, but I mean, how many tens of thousands of people are aware of the Beatles but have no idea who Paul McCartney is?
Exactly.
That's probably a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. You get into weird situations like that, and yeah, I don't know.
It's weird.
It really muddies the water in terms of like, it's impossible to be a musical purist. There's so much content. You just there's no way. You can't keep track of everything,
and you can't know it all.
And you can't fault people for, like I said, maybe those people really enjoy the Beatles, but there's so many bands that I like that I couldn't name one member of.
Right, and even. Well, maybe one or two for me, but
well, you deep dive it though.
Yeah,
like
I'm
you
deep dive it. I can't
You're
help
a
but do
sponge.
that. Yeah,
you retain that stuff.
But I do remember, like, when I discovered Motley Crue when I was like 7 or 8, maybe 7, and on their Shout the Devil album, they did a cover of Helter Skelter. And even though I had been exposed to the Beatles by then, I had no idea that was a Beatles song.
Yeah.
Or and then. I found out later, and then I heard the original, blah, 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 but it's like, I thought that they just wrote some weird song.
Yeah.
And then, but it happens. And but me, I deep dove and like, oh, okay.
That's why you're the deep diver, man.
I'm
That's
the
why
deep diver.
That's why you got that.
That's why I am the deep diver.
I'm just a single slut.
But to wrap up Mr. Malone and this song,
Dr. Malone.
Dr. Malone.
Got a doctorate in hip hopology. Don't stab me.
I didn't dislike it. Like I said, it's not really in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But, I've heard enough about Post Malone, and apparently he does have a good following, and he does have an ear for other types of music. So, if this is what you like, I would recommend it. Mm-hmm. I mean, but like I said, it didn't really do much for me.
Yeah. This is kind of a song for me. It's a lot of these songs, I just turn my brain off, and it's a matter of like, do I like it or not? Because I'm not a huge fan of like a lot of what it seems to me like popular hip hop or whatever you want to kind of call this genre. Like a lot of what it is now is a lot of non sequiturs that just kind of tie back into how you're the shit.
Yeah.
That's sort of just like what the trope is. Yeah. And that's not to say that every artist is doing that, but that's where it goes. It's like you've generated success. Now talk about it. There's I can't remember. There's this song by this guy, and he's famous.
Oh,
but, yeah. I'm trying to. It's like on the tip of my tongue. But it's kind of this is the song that it reminds me of, and we could look it up. But he just kind of talks about how successful he is and how famous he is. The whole song. It's an old like classic rock guy. Fuck, I really wish I could remember. I can't even remember the melody now, but like he just talks about one of the lines is like, I got a Maserati.
Oh, Joe Walsh.
Joe Walsh.
Life's been good to me so far. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And it's
I was like, he was in
that's
the
more
Eagles.
like of a parody.
Yeah.
He's joking or not joking, but he's just kind of like.
Yeah. Like, and I get the irony of it, but nowadays it's like that's sort of the model to continue your success is like, okay, you spent your first album or two maybe talking about real stuff, and then it's like you run out of stuff to talk about because you've just all you're experiencing is like success and fame. So now you're just going to talk about that for a couple albums, and then you're going to talk about the drugs, and then you're going to talk about the relapse, and then you're going to the recovery, then you're going to talk about the relapse, and
then you're going to do an album about how you lost all your money and and you really regret, bragging about all these cars and money you have.
God.
MC Hammer. But anyway.
Yeah. Buy that shirt at Hot Topic.
But yeah. But I mean, yeah, and what you talked about, I'm actually going to touch on a little bit more when we get into a couple of the others that I was employed to listen to. But yeah.
Gun to your head.
Oh God. I would have rather. No, I'm kidding. But well, I am going to I'll give it a recommend though. I mean, if that's what you like.
Yeah,
I couldn't find any like fault in it or whatnot. It was like, like I said, it's not something I would listen to, but it had a good beat and Trish kind of dug it a little bit, so I'll give it a thumbs up. Yeah.
Comfort food.
Yeah, that's fine. Mr. Malone or Dr. Malone or whatever he wants to be called. Professor Malone.
That's good. Honorary professor.
Honorary professor of
Bud Light chugging.
Bud Light chugging. All right. Well, we are going to move on to what I gave you as your first one. Death Angel. And the song is called Veil of Deception. It was a short little acoustic driven song. It is one of two ballads, and I guess I jumped ahead of myself. The songs that I presented to Brennan were thrash metal ballads that I felt that most people were not familiar with. I mean, we're all familiar with, I think the first one that comes in anyone's head would be Fade to Black by Metallica. In My Darkest Hour by Megadeth. I mean, you've got a lot of those ballads by bands that were thrash that everybody knows them. So I was like, well, let me pick three that I like for different reasons and probably have not been popping up on anybody's radio or Spotify or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, I wanted it to be first because it's short, it's sweet, and it just was going to ease you into it.
Kind of sets the tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the one where Death Angel is a thrash band, but I feel like the two guys that sing in the band, the lead singer and the guitar player, have really good voices. They are to thrash metal what Staley and Cantrell were to Alice in Chains.
Okay.
Where you have a guitar player with a great voice and harmonizes well with the lead singer. So they had actually, like I said, two really good ballads on this album. One of them was a song called A Room with a View, which actually was the second single off this record. And this is Death Angel's Act 3. I don't know if I said that before. Came out in 1990, that pinnacle year for thrash metal. This was their breakthrough album. And unfortunately, it was the last one they put out for 14 years.
Oh, wow.
On the tour for this record, they had a bus accident, and the drummer broke his back.
Ooh.
And instead of replacing him, they gave him time to recoup. And by the time that all went through, the band had broken up, and they had lost their deal, the record deal. So they eventually came back around in 2004 and have still going strong.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear.
One of my favorite bands of this genre and of all. But like I said, we'll get back to Veil of Deception. It's very like quick. It's got a nice little story. Kind of wraps it up in a little bow at about 2.5 minutes. The guitar work to me always kind of stuck out because when you listen to it, if you don't know the name of the band, you would never know this is a thrash band that was playing the song, recording it. The vocals are very clean and nice, and the little solo at the end was kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, this is the perfect example of getting it right, and Death Angel did, and they continue to make. They'll pop in a ballad on their music now, and it still sounds great. And a quick fact before we get back to the song, when they released the other ballad as a single, it was actually doing very well, but MTV couldn't market it because they couldn't market this great selling song by a band named Death Angel.
It's too offensive.
Well, they think it would draw people away. So when they released the video, you had that little thing at the bottom corner that had the band's name, the song, and the album.
Yeah.
They abbreviated it to DA.
Oh.
And you can actually find those on YouTube where it has it just says DA. And it says, it has a song.
Moves like that are always, because you're just piquing people's curiosity. What does it stand for? And then they're going to find out anyway.
And when you go to the record store to find it, I'm looking for this band called DA.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What song do they play? That's that nice ballady song.
Yeah. I think they write a lot of songs like that.
Yeah, I think that's all their music.
The rest of the record, nothing like it.
It's just thrash.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
Yeah, this is all around. This is a great thrash album. It's still one of my favorites. But yeah, I thought this was the best way to ease into it. So, thoughts, hopes, dreams.
So one day play in Death Angel.
Well,
sing this song. I really liked it. You kind of gave me the layout of what we were going for, which is good because I have to know a little bit of what you're going for in terms of when you group your songs together. Because this would have, I definitely would have figured it out just with Testament being in there. That's the band I've seen, not Exodus. But I think I could have figured it out because the way the acoustic guitars are played, I can kind of tell that it's played by a metal musician. I don't know. I can kind of always hear when metal dudes play guitar, and that's not to say all the time because some metal guitar players have really good acoustic chops. Some metal bass players have really good acoustic chops. I can't think of his name. Current bassist for Metallica.
Oh, Robert Trujillo.
Yeah, he plays like flamenco guitar, so his chops are out of this world.
Yeah, he's an amazing bass player. But
yeah. But most of the time, in terms of me hanging out with heavier guitar players, pass them the acoustic, they all kind of play the same. But I liked it. I think, like you said, it was recorded really well. It was very different, and I liked I liked trying to figure out what was going on. There's a really, really potentially provocative line in that where it's not provocative, but I guess really sad. That's the best word I can come up with. But he says the child within her died. And I was like, okay, that's either a miscarriage or just talking about like your childhood innocence going. And that's kind of what really like hooked me into the song. And I'm horrible at figuring out what things are about, but it's kind of cool walking through the story of like how sad and lonely and pissed off at the world this woman is. And I'd love to hear why she's so sad and lonely and pissed off.
It's still kind of vague. Like I've, been listening to this song for many, many decades, and I don't think it ever really says what went down, but she was always hiding it behind her quote veil of deception. But apparently, at the end of the song, spoiler alert, but it said, on the day she died, no one even cried. They forgot about the veil of deception. So it's like somebody knew what was up with what was going on with this lady. But yeah, it's just, there's a little bit of vagueness to it that I almost kind of liked it because it kind of makes you like scratch your head and think, is this a real person? Is this something, you kind of have your own interpretation. And a lot of times I like when lyrics are kind of left for you to kind of figure it out.
I like open-ended stuff more because I that's just my bias because I'm horrible at figuring out definitive things. I've always been bad about it. Like I really I've had a lot of poetry classes over the years or English classes that have poetry sections in them. And there always seems to be these like really, I would say go-to poems that your teacher wants you to try to figure out, and I'm horrible at it.
Yeah.
I think it's because I always want something different.
Yeah.
Like it's too hard for me to. I don't know. I like things that are open to multiple interpretations because then it's, then you can make your own truth.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I feel like this is, because there aren't, like, one of my poetry teachers talked about, like, golden keys, which are these things you leave, and it can be within the structure of the poem, or maybe it's the title, and it's kind of the clue that helps you figure out if there is a definitive thing, what you're talking about, or it points you in the right direction. And this is sort of just kind of all just talking about the same thing. There's not really any hidden keys that kind of open your eyes to it, but I liked it.
Yeah.
I
Short,
enjoyed it.
sweet.
Yeah. How does this fit in terms of the rest of the album? Does it kind of stick out? Is there a narrative flow into it, or?
I mean, there's no concept between the songs. The thing about this album, and I'll give you like the super short abridged version of Death Angel up to this record, is they have always mixed other elements in with their thrash.
Okay.
Like things like this. This album has songs with funk elements.
Okay.
Straightforward metal, thrash, and that's just kind of, and they still adhere to those now. And so you get this album, and it starts off with just a slamming, like almost thrash, great metal song called "Seemingly Endless Time," and then you just kind of go through this, back and forth of like metal mixed with funk, metal mixed with thrash, and then of course the ballad, and then another ballad, and it sounds like it's all over the place, but with their style, it fits.
Okay.
It fits very well. And these guys, when they recorded their first record, I think the drummer was like 14. I mean, these guys were young.
Where are they from?
They're from the Bay Area.
Okay.
But they're all cousins, or this lineup was all cousins, and they're all of Filipino descent.
Okay.
So, but they are based out of the San Francisco area. They were right behind like the Big Four explosion.
Okay.
So, and had they not had that bus accident, they probably would have had a better, 90s.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad they got back together, and I'm so glad they're still doing what they do. They're down to only 2 original members, the lead singer and the guitar player. And actually, the guitar player a couple of years ago released a solo album of more acoustic type music.
Okay.
So his name is Rob Cavastani. If I mispronounce that, I apologize. But he's the other voice in this song, and he actually, on the other single I was telling you about, "Room with a View," he sings lead vocals.
Okay, very
But
interesting.
he has an amazing voice. Mark Estoguado, the lead singer, has a great voice, and they were doing it that back and forth a little bit before Staley and Cantrell, but I put those together as like, cousin groups.
Yeah.
And they did it well, and they still do it well.
Yeah.
So
No, that's really cool. I like whenever I hear musicians crafting albums in that kind of way, it makes me happy because I think they're in it for the right reasons. They're just making music purely for the enjoyment of it. They don't care, like, they're not thinking like, what are the people going to like? They're just playing what they want to play, and I really respect that. So, are there going to be more deep cuts from Death Angel in the future?
I'm not going to pull any more from this album.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give it a listen then.
And
I'm intrigued.
Do it. And to finish up, as I was telling Trish, this song and this album is 31 years old. And to me, it sounds as fresh as it did when my, 14-year-old ears heard it the first time. So
it's crazy.
Unfortunately, you can't say that about a lot of music.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we'll be talking about that music today. So
it's crazy.
Sorry.
This album's 2 years older than I am.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah. But so you recommend?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Awesome.
Especially if you're a person that floats between genres, you like a lot of different stuff. You like hearing interesting music played in contrast with what would be considered a band's like style or genre. This is definitely something you want to check out if you are into metal, but you're also into like softer stuff. Because that's what I like. Nothing excites me more than when a band that is not known for jamming just decides to jam in the middle of a concert. I love shit like that.
Yeah.
Just people breaking up the monotony. I think sometimes albums in particular can be a little too repetitive, if that makes sense. Like,
yes.
It's why I don't like a lot of punk records, because I'll like songs off of those records, but when it's just kind of
it can get a little
like carbon copy, and it's like, I know you're talking about you're trying to talk about important stuff within that genre, but it's like I can only handle those just 4 power chord songs for so long.
Well, awesome. Well,
so I recommend,
yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not pulling from Act 3 anymore. Sorry.
Yeah.
So check out that record. It's got something for everybody, and it's still one of my favorite records. I love that album, and every time I listen to it, like I said, it's just like, it's still fresh to me. Like 14-year-old me comes out, but then 45-year-old me is like,
yeah. No, and what really intrigued me is you're talking about like some funk elements in metal, and that's something that I always really like, but there's not a whole lot of that I'm familiar with. Like, because I know Primus has done some of that, and then the Red Hot Chili Peppers get kind of heavy with some stuff, but they don't really even approximate metal. So I'm really not familiar outside of like Primus, anybody that does a lot of like heavier kind of funk groove based stuff. There's a band called Tomahawk that did a pretty cool funk metal song, but so I'm interested.
Check them out.
Definitely.
Throw that out, and then just that record. I might fish some of their later stuff later.
Yeah.
But, all right, so it's back to you.
That's right.
Which one are we doing?
Your favorite.
Is this the Gucci Gang?
This is Gucci Gang.
Oh,
this is written by Gazzy Garcia, who is Lil Pump. That's always the thing is they I know you got to go under the, what's it called, I don't know if it's an alter ego pseudonym. That's what that's the trope is in rap and hip hop, you give yourself a name. But it makes it real hard to figure out who's who when you got a lot of songwriting credits. And this song has Gazzy Garcia, Brendan Murray, and Jarrell Neely, all kind of songwriters and all kind of producers on this. This was originally released via SoundCloud on August 28th, 2017. And then for whatever reason, 2 days later, it was available for streaming and download via Warner Brothers. So it peaked at number 3, and it's been certified platinum 5 times over. This is the most viewed age-restricted video on YouTube. And I can tell by your reaction that you're just super happy, really enjoyed it. What was my challenge on this one was just to watch the YouTube video and try to not get too depressed.
And this was one where I had to. I watched the video.
Mm-hmm.
First, I listened to the song, and I had to read the lyrics. And
you had to read the lyrics?
And I use the term lyrics,
all 17 of them,
very loosely. I watched the video, and then honestly, that's when I really started drinking a lot that day.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about our friendship, and I actually listened to it, and I told Trish, I was like, "We're gonna have to fight. Me and Brennan, we're gonna fight." But all kidding aside,
real quick, this or up?
Actually, I'm going to reference Cardi B while I discuss this song.
Okay.
I was thinking about that. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
After listening to this song, I take back everything I said about Cardi B. Everything.
No shit. When you look up the lyrics, BRR is included as a lyric.
It is. I saw that.
Fuck that.
I don't know. I don't really know where to start. This song is terrible. Honestly,
to start.
and I'm trying to find a sensitive way of saying this, because when I first heard the song, I honestly thought that this guy was like maybe he was mentally handicapped. I'm not kidding. I'm not being ugly. And I was thinking, well, good for him.
For trying.
Yes.
So because I did get you to watch the music video.
Yeah.
I looked into that a little bit, and apparently, I think Brendan Murray, he goes by one of those pseudonyms as well. He kind of set up the shooting of the music video, which was done at like a Catholic middle school without permission to do I think they had permission to shoot, but I don't think that the school knew what they were doing.
And grocery bags of weed.
That tiger was legit. That wasn't a CGI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was a legit yeah. So apparently the Catholic school was pretty up in arms about it, and actually shares the name of the Catholic school that I went to here called Blessed Sacrament.
Oh wow.
So yeah, maybe one day Little Pump will come and shoot a video at my Catholic school.
Well, that would be awesome. Yeah.
Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
I know. And the thing is,
Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
It gets in your head. It doesn't go away.
Yeah.
No, this is literally something that all it is shout outs to brands and Gucci, which I'm sorry, Lil Pump, I hate to break this to you, but people have been singing about Gucci since the early 80s.
But have they formed a crime syndicate around Gucci, the brand? Because he has a mafia that all wears Gucci.
Oh yeah, his Gucci gang.
Well, I'm actually it's Italian, so I'm sure there's a lot of mafias that are
sure the Italians,
dressed exclusively in
Italians
Gucci.
love to have their name drugged through the proverbial.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever drives them sales up.
Yeah, I mean, I was just listening to it, and I was thinking, other than thinking that this guy was, mentally challenged, and I apologize. And then actually I feel bad because I honestly think that is very disrespectful to anyone who is mentally challenged.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this guy is, I don't know. And I can understand why kids love him, because it's very simple. It's got a chorus that goes on for what feels like an hour. I think the best part about the song is that it is right at 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're right, it has about 17 words in the whole song.
Yeah.
And 16 of them are Gucci. But anyway, yeah, the way he talks about women, honestly, for him to talk about women like that in such a juvenile way, Cardi B deserves to say whatever she wants to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cardi B, I'm sorry. Just whatever you want to say, Cardi, to get this guy to shut up.
Yeah. That's an official statement. Yeah. Lil Pump will be coming back up.
Great.
Yeah. Because, I think the reason I recommended this song is obviously because, for it to be the most age-restricted video on YouTube, it kind of represented, I think, a pretty big shift.
Mm-hmm.
This, it's hard to say because it wasn't exclusively on SoundCloud, but for a couple years around this time on either end, this is the era of SoundCloud rap. I mean, that's where a ton of these people were releasing things and actually gaining notoriety off of. And I think SoundCloud's is more or less dead at this point. I know it's still around, but at one point it had like gone bankrupt, and then a company was going to save it. I really liked SoundCloud in the beginning because it was a great place to find like EDM, like what do you call it? Producers would go and make mixtapes of like all the new songs, and they would kind of put them together and do remixes and stuff. So it was a cool place for that. Mm-hmm. And then now it's just basically it's like the more entry level place to release music. Mm-hmm. So it's not hard to get your music on Spotify anymore. Like now you just go through a distributor like DistroKid or DaBaby. There's a couple different ones, and they take care of getting it on these platforms.
Wow, I didn't know DaBaby was still around.
Yeah. And then SoundCloud is like, there's actually a function just on Ableton. If I want to export it as an MP3, there's an upload to SoundCloud default button. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of why I brought this up, is like, I think it represented sort of a paradigm shift in terms of like popular music, because it's a really short song. Mm-hmm. It's a really basic song. Yeah. There's not a whole lot to it. Mm-hmm. 3 guys kind of just put it together, shot a music video, and then, made a butt ton of money.
God bless him. But yeah,
the kind of I would guess I would call him the brains behind the operation, Brendan Murray. He was quoted as, he was saying, he's talking about simple music, and he's like, that's what drives success, is like music that 3 and 4-year-olds could sing. I think that's what he was quoted as saying, and I was like, I don't know if 3 or 4-year-olds should be
singing
Gucci Gang.
I think my niece is 4, and if she was singing, she'd probably get smacked.
Yeah.
but the thing is, like, I knew even back when I was in high school, like the enunciation of some of the words. Like I knew people that talked like that, and I know it's part of the genre and all. It just makes you sound stupid. Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure you could say something about the music I listen to that makes people sound stupid.
Sure.
But
yeah.
It just,
everybody's got rocks.
Yeah, exactly. So just like, yeah. And me and Trish were talking about it this morning, and I was like, maybe it's just, once again, I'm just old.
I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah, this was horrible.
So when it came out, it's kind of when I think it's so polarizing. Like, you either absolutely live by this kind of like new era, or you absolutely hate it. You're opposed to everything about it. I don't think there's a lot of people on the fence about Gucci Gang.
Yeah.
And this was, a song that kind of reminds me of the success that this song saw later, was like Old Town Road. That was, it was like the perfect culmination of things. It's like not too cerebral. It's pretty simple, but it's got a really appealing music video. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what drives success now. And not always, but it's, to say this is formulaic is being generous.
Yes.
It's yeah. I think I chose it just because it's so easy. It's such a low hanging fruit. Like
it is.
You can knock it around with a broom.
But I mean, I can't even give it a recommendation. I mean,
yeah.
I don't recommend it. I mean, if this is what you like, number one, we will probably never cross paths.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. So I set up the playlist, and I do it in order of like, it's like my Rex and then your Rex.
Uh-huh.
And it's so 3 and then 3. And I'll listen to it in order as we're prepping for the week.
Yeah.
I skipped this every single time. I listened to it one time I was kind of like, I haven't listened to it in 4 years or whatever. Let's see if anything's changed, and it's not.
I put this when I went back to re-listen to the 3. Mm-hmm. I had to put this at the end.
Oh yeah,
because I had to get ready for it.
Yeah.
You know, so, but don't recommend. I mean, this song is stupid, but, and you know, I would have actually honestly have felt better if I knew this guy had some kind of a learning disability. Then I would have been like, good for him. But the fact that he doesn't,
this one's hard. This one's hard to peg for me because it's like they either got extremely lucky or they're geniuses. But it's kind of like, I mean, I'm sure at whatever level they enjoy doing this. This sounds really fun to go and shoot sort of a guerrilla style music video on Catholic school grounds with drugs. Yeah. That sounds right up my alley. I would love to do that. But it's kind of one of those things. It's like, it's not necessarily better or worse if they're aware of what they were doing. Cause there's some things that are just like magnificent. Mm-hmm. A perfect example is, have you seen The Room? Yes. Tommy Wiseau, yeah. So like it's so bad it's good,
right?
And it's almost like it's better because of his unawareness of like going through the process of making that. I don't see that here. I see a little bit more intent. This
to me would be less like The Room and more like Birdemic. If you've seen that movie,
yeah.
This is Birdemic the song,
but it's like. It's like Birdemic with an actual Hollywood budget almost. Oh, yeah. Like I feel like they made the most of it. I don't really, like I said, I don't know the whole story behind this, but these guys are, I mean, they're kind of geniuses in their own right. Why that thing beeping?
I know. Well, yeah, it's fine. It's actually, yeah. Let me know that I have to go sneeze.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that camera's smart.
So can't recommend it.
I don't recommend it, but yeah, if we can take a $5.
Sure, yeah.
I need to.
Yeah. We're right at the halfway point.
Yeah.
Perfect. Pause.
All right, we will roll it here. Okay.
Gucci gang. 3, 2,
1. Okay, so just to clarify, I gave it a big old thumbs down. So, okay.
Just in case anybody was on the fence about it.
Just in case you were wondering how I felt about that song, but hey, man, they can't all be winners. So
I would consider that one a winner.
Well, I mean, as far as success, I guess it was a winner. But I'm glad that's over with. I don't ever want to have to listen to that song ever again.
I'm glad his hairstyle matches his favorite kind of candy.
Well, I mean, he's so respectful of women. I don't know.
Well, that's we're talking about it outside. The lyrics are so base in that song. He might as well just be walking around as a penis, like
exactly
a penis that can do cocaine and spend money,
but not on a wedding ring.
No. Well, can't buy no wedding ring.
All right, shifting major gears. So I gave to you a song by Testament from.
I've seen, not Exodus.
Yeah, yes, I've seen Testament also. But anyway, yeah, I shook. I'll get this story in a second because I'll just wander off. Mm-hmm. I shook Chuck Billy, the lead singer of Testament. I shook his hand on his tour bus one time. So we'll get to that.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
He does the mic stand thing. Is that a tribute to Queen?
I don't know if it is or not.
Okay, because I know that was like Freddie Mercury's thing was having this kind of the mic stand thing
just
going on.
Like half of it. Yeah. Actually, I'll go ahead and get that story out of the way. It's just like super quick.
Dude, let's hear it. I'm excited.
It was me and a buddy of mine were at a show. It was Overkill and Testament, and before the show, like it was at the old Masquerade, where all the tour buses are like right there.
Yeah.
So we walked under the little, the rope where you can't go, and it was before the show, and I was like, I'm gonna go knock on some doors and see if somebody will answer a door. So I knocked on the door of a tour bus, and Chuck Billy opens the door, and it scared me to death. Because I'm going to tell you, Chuck Billy is about 8 feet tall.
Oh, yeah.
He is huge.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
He is a big guy, and he answered his own tour bus door, and he opened the door, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I got the wrong bus. Like, oh, I don't, and he was like, oh, and he was like smiling. He was like, okay. I was like, oh, and have a good show though, man. It's good to see you. And he shook my hand and closed the door right in my face like he should have.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
I could have gone several ways.
It could have, because he could have torn me to pieces.
It's got to be nice walking around with that kind of confidence, though, like knowing you can.
Yeah.
When you're in that line of work, like just knowing you can take care of yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I love him anyway. And like I said, I could have been thrown out. I could have been beaten to a bloody pulp.
What made you want to duck the rope?
Because the tour buses were there.
Oh, okay.
We knocked
so
on
that was the experience you were going for.
Yeah. We knocked on Overkill's bus, and some of the band members opened up, and we totally shouldn't have been doing that. That's a horrible thing. That's a thin line between being a good fan and just not being a good fan.
Yeah,
and I think that was something that we, in hindsight, we really should not have done. If you appreciate someone, you will give them their privacy. And I've actually regretted that to this day. I feel like
that was like where you pushed the boundary a little bit.
Yeah,
How old were you?
Oh, this was like maybe like 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. Maybe 9 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So definitely should have known better.
Yeah, I was an adult, But, yeah, that was very regrettable, and I do apologize to those guys. We weren't doing it, but, like, we didn't have any bad intentions. It was like, I just want to drink a beer with somebody cool or shake a hand with them.
Yeah.
Shake their hand or whatever, but it's like, give them some space.
Yeah, lapse in judgment.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah. So, but anyway, back to Testament.
Yep.
So, the song I gave you was The Ritual, which is the title of also the album, The Ritual. Mm-hmm. It came out in 1992, and I think last podcast I harped on metal bands and the kind of albums they put out in 1992. Mm-hmm. They were more like radio-friendly heavy metal, and Testament was one where this was their more straightforward metal record. They kind of had very little elements of thrash, which is more of what they are. Mm-hmm. And, I think this is, number one, a very underappreciated record. I really like this album. I've been listening to it since it came out. And, but they had this, just like Death Angel, they had two really good ballads on this album. One of them they released as a single called Return to Serenity. Mm-hmm. And then this one, The Ritual. And they're both pretty deep. We're starting to get into like some deep territory here with what I gave you. Mm-hmm. But, which is why you got the Death Angel song first. It's the lighter of the songs. But
the songs are like almost 3 times the length.
Yeah. But it's
it's almost 4 times the length. Sorry.
It's a slow crawler.
Yeah.
And there's lyrically there's a lot going on. To be honest with you, I've studied the song lyrically for the 28, 29 years as this song has been in existence, and I still don't know exactly what it's about, but I know it's some pretty dark, territory. But I think it's beautifully put together, and I feel like this song, even as someone who knows who Testament is, I feel like this song and this album would have totally gone under your radar.
Absolutely.
Which so would with anybody.
Yeah. So. Really, the only. I think I messed up the song title last time, Brotherhood of the Snake.
Yes.
I'm familiar with that, and then Electric Crown, or like the two Testament
Electric
songs.
Crown is off this.
That's, yeah. I recognize the artwork. So it was cool to get this, and I was like, oh, okay, because they're very different songs. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think as somebody who's not really familiar with thrash metal, that was what was really cool about this week as an overarching theme, because I do sort of just have that, I just sort of have an assumption that thrash bands play thrash metal, and that's just kind of what they always do, and that's what they're always going to do. So it's cool to see this other kind of side. And, this isn't as acoustically driven as the Death Angel song, but it's down-tempo, almost like stoner metal-ish kind of territory, I would say, like especially with that intro. Mm-hmm. And then they hit like really intense peaks in the choruses. I give it my guitar solo for the week for sure. I love how like, in the way the song goes through so many like different movements, so does the solo. It like starts off like really playfully and then gets really technical, but there's also these like really high points that hits. And that's one of the things I love about when typically faster paced bands slow it down, is watching what the guitarists can do, because they're used to playing at such a high BPM. And, you know, Slayer's a perfect example of that. Like, what they can do in those really fast BPM solos is really impressive. But then when they slow it down, really seeing what a guitar player can do who's used to playing at this high octane level, it's almost otherworldly what they're able to accomplish at down, like, you know, when they actually have room for subdivisions and
exactly
and syncopation. So I really enjoyed the solo. The vibe I got from it in terms of what they were driving at, just first impression and like kind of listening through it as much as I could, was like ritualistic suicide by a cult. That's kind of where I landed. I
kind of felt like the term "the ritual" was less forefront as an actual ritual, but more of like their own ritual. But you know, one of us could be right or wrong, or
sure.
Like that's a good analogy though. I really like where you went with that.
That's kind of what. So I took the lyrics, and then I just applied it to the title, and that's kind of what that was like my golden key moment, was like, so I did just like, just who are those crazy fucks that they had somebody, they drank poison to catch the comet, and they wore shower caps or whatever. That's kind of the vibe I got.
Oh
from
yeah,
it.
I have a shirt with that guy on there, the Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate, yeah. That's just
I
kind
almost wore my Heaven's Gate shirt today.
Really, that would have been really crazy synergy, but
yeah. But and the thing about with Testament and on this album they had I think most of their original lineup, and they always have good guitar players, and their two guitarists are Eric Peterson, who's been a constant with the band as long as Chuck Billy, the singer, and then Alex Skolnick, who was a guitar prodigy as a teenager. I think he joined Testament when he was like 16.
Oh, wow.
And Alex Skolnick, he left the band after this album to go, he had so many other projects, and he's back with them now. But Alex Skolnick is very jazz-based, and he just kind of wanted to branch out. But he is an amazing guitar player. Not to take away from Eric Peterson, the other guitar player. They're both just amazing guitar players, and they mesh so well in this band, especially on, like you said, with the different solos. And I don't know who, I'd have to look in to see who did what solo, but just the sound that they created together up through this album, I thought was absolutely, amazing.
And it's as an overarching theme, like it's really cool. Like, I would say most thrash bands probably have two guitar players, and I think it's such a complex style that even to be a guitar player in that kind of band, you're gonna have chops. And it's so cool to see, like, again, going back to Slayer, like Kerry King and Jeff say his name for me,
Hanneman,
and now Gary Holt, like, they're at such a high level. There's really no lead versus rhythm player. They just both, it's just who's going to put their influence where in the song. And that's kind of the vibe I got from this, is like, it's always cool in this genre seeing how typically, not always, but typically the two guitar players inform each other, and like what their conversation is they have back and forth in the solos. That's what I really like. And I think that's why I really enjoyed the solo in this, is because you almost hear two different voices speaking through the guitars. It's really cool.
I absolutely love that analogy. I don't think I've ever heard that before, but it makes sense when you said their solos or them having a conversation with each other through the solos. That should be carved in stone. That is like one of the greatest analogies I've ever heard.
Oh, thank you.
About that.
Put it on a shirt.
I'm stealing it.
Okay.
I'm tattooing it on my forehead.
That's a good spot for it.
Like Post Malone's got,
it's got the shit right.
So I'm gonna put right there.
So you get that, and then I'll get Gucci Gang, and then I'll get a beard belly, and then I'll flip it, and it'll say straight out of I don't know. I was gonna go straight out of Compton, but
you're not from there.
Straight out of Ardsley Park.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
And I'll get straight out of North Macon.
Yeah.
So if anybody who's from North Macon will get that joke.
I really I like the idea of underbelly tattoos. You lift it up.
I'm working on the way.
Man.
I'm working on getting rid of it.
So what's cool is you could do one on the flab up top, and then you flip it and it's something underneath. It's like Die Hard with a vengeance, you know.
Thanks for body shaming me. I'm just kidding.
So yeah, I really enjoyed this song. I would definitely recommend it.
Awesome.
It's really in between categorization and genre, like trying to put it in a style. It's just so cool. And like I would say the singing's really atypical. Like I really like the key it's played in, but because it has that slower tempo and it kind of crawls through most of the song, it's just a really interesting kind of feel.
Yeah.
And like I said, I kind of got like stoner metal vibes from it. Like
it does have kind of that flavor.
like the what's that band? High on Fire kind of stuff. Obviously a little later, but
Well, yeah. And you know, Chuck Billy, he sounds good on this song, and we've discussed this about other bands before, but he's a thrash metal singer. He's got a great voice for what he does. For him to try something a little bit, you know, out of his realm, I think he pulled it off pretty well.
Yeah, and it wasn't like for me, I've said like metal can be ruined by or songs really can be ruined by the vocalist. This wasn't offensive at all to me. Like I didn't, find anything wrong with it. It's such a tricky kind of style to sing within. I feel like it's not to jump ahead, but like some of the stuff you've pitched me for next week, sort of in that vein. Like some of those songs, I would have a really hard time trying to figure out how to sing over some of that stuff.
Oh yeah,
this is kind of in the same vein as like these crawly parts. How do you sing over it? So,
well, this album in particular, I'm not going to pull from it anymore.
Okay.
Honestly, because I want you to be able to go listen to it. The other ballad, which I wish I could have pulled it, but it was released as a single, "Return to Serenity." It is an amazing, amazing song, and they actually they put out a live album a few years after this, and they did an acoustic version, a studio acoustic version of "Return to Serenity," and to me, it's even better than the original version.
Oh, cool! I'll have to check both out.
Yeah, but it's a great song. I mean, this is a great song too, but "Return to Serenity" is a great song. Very heart wrenching. You know, be in a good place when you listen to it.
Okay.
But it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But like I said, I like the song "The Ritual" too.
What was your interpretation of the lyrical content, if I may?
I've always felt like "The Ritual" was more of a symbolic thing, like something that you do, and like he's getting into this ritual of what he does, and because the wording is kind of like, the phrasing is weird, because he'll say, like, there's a line where he says, "Say goodbye, my friend, I'm coming home," or "Say hello, my friend, I've got to go." It's like, and then the phrase, "Kill yourself, killing time." It almost doesn't sound like it's a pro-suicide song. It's really weird, and like I said, I've never gotten a full, account of what it is.
Right, no aha moments.
Yeah, and I intentionally have never researched what other people think the song's about, just because I kind of like where I'm at with it. I like the mystery.
Yeah.
And it's haunting, and that's what I like about it the most, is that it's the delivery is so haunting, and just you can kind of listen to it and just
Well, you know what we got to do?
What?
We got to duck the ropes. Got to knock on that
that
tour bus. Hey man, what was the ritual about? And then he kicks the shit out of us.
Yeah. He's like, it's about me breaking your neck. All right, well, check out the album "The Ritual" at your leisure, and it's like I said, it's not the Testament. This was a different thing for them.
Not your daddy's testament.
No, this is not your daddy's Testament. So, because go home and ask your dad, "What Testament album do you like, Dad?"
Yeah.
My dad would be like, "Who?" All right, now this is
The Last Lemon.
The Last Lemon.
So the third and final pitch. So just to preface this was purely just because recently I've been hearing DaBaby. I don't pay attention to a lot of popular stuff that comes out now. Sam's got like top 40 radio on in her car, and she has one of those displays that shows the artist.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm familiar with him on that level, but this was purely just a pick of, I was like, who's a really popular rapper that I could use to kind of sum up the theme of this week. That's what I went off of. I didn't, I didn't even know this song when it came out, and it's 2 years old. Or no, sorry,
about a year old.
About a year old, beginning of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know about the remix release about the BLM protest and all that kind of stuff. I didn't want to dive too far into that. I just wanted to preface it by saying I just picked it purely because pause in the action.
Pause.
We can just resync.
Yeah. Why did I just do that? God. Fucked up, right? Okay. Sorry.
3, 2,
1.
So yeah, just to kind of remark on it again, like I know there's a lot of very strong feelings surrounding a lot of these issues. I purely picked it because I know that he's like the shit right now, and this happened to be his number one song. So that's purely what I picked it off of, and didn't want to get too politically or socially commentating on it. I feel like everybody's, they they let the experts speak on that. We're just going to talk about the music.
Right. And my whole basis of when I listened to it, I didn't put any of that into play.
Yeah.
I listened to it and paid attention to the lyrics. And I came up with a theory. First of all, once again, and I said I'm gonna say this a lot, this isn't in my wheelhouse. I didn't hate it. It's just not something that I would listen to because of the style of music.
Yeah.
So, but lyrically, it kind of felt like he's comparing, like almost calling being like a gangster a rock star. Like where he says, I don't have a guitar, I have a clock. Like using like the rock star symbolism on his lifestyle. And hence why it's called Rockstar is what I'm guessing. Like that's his idea of a rock star is he don't need a guitar or whatever. He's got a Glock. And he has a Lamborghini and not a cop car. I didn't really understand where he was talking about that.
It's faster.
Okay.
He goes faster. Okay. They can't catch him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I guess that would. I like just purely from a songwriting perspective. I really enjoy happy songs that touch on like really sad or disturbing or like. I like juxtapositions like that because like half the song he's talking about murder and shooting and having PTSD and like very dark themes. So and like the feature act in this Roddy Ricch, his whole verse is about like getting cornered like in a shootout situation and I guess not being shot at, but like I mean, this is like they're pretty explicitly talking about murder and really bad stuff, but it's such a happy song. It's like can't help but tap your toe to it. So I just enjoy it on that kind of level. I just think it's sort of like Psycho. I just think it sounds good as a whole. I don't try to like separate out the pieces and
I would put it closer to Psycho. Those two songs kind of were running on the same set of tracks for me.
Right.
They were definitely going to a better place than the other song was going.
Well, and Gucci Gang was put in there obviously because of just how I knew what your reaction was going to be to it. There was a part of me holding out hope that you'd be like, I actually really liked it, but
No.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
this one, I mean, it was fun. Like, I didn't really equate to a lot of the lyrics, but I think, generational gaps has a lot to do with that.
Yeah. Well, and just as a style, I think rap music going back, I mean, how many decades at this point, does focus on violent themes or criminal activities.
Right. So,
that is a time in memoriam kind of trope at this point. Written by Jonathan Kirk, Roderick Moore, and that's DaBaby and Roddy Ricch, and then a guy named Ross Portaro, the fourth, I'm pretty sure. So those are the songwriters on this. We've talked about it before. It is interesting, like, obviously, like, if you write your lyrics, you get songwriting, and then when you have a featuring artist, they get a songwriting credit for their lyrics. I do wonder, like, what portion of lyrical content some of these other add-on people contribute to. I don't know how much of that, like, again, we've talked about, I don't know if it's like, oh, you produce the chorus, so you get a songwriting credit, or like, I don't really know how all that works.
Even if you come up with a title, you get a songwriting credit.
Right.
It's like,
I was sitting there and I thought, Gucci Gang. Well, we say it so many times in the song. Let's just name it that.
Now you get a songwriting
That
credit.
was my eureka moment. I thought this was interesting. So it was nominated for Record of the Year, Best Rap Song.
Yeah.
Spent 7 weeks at #1. Another award it was nominated for was Best Melodic Rap Song. I should have looked into what won, but I do like thinking, is there a category for Best Amelodic Rap Song?
That would be
like
Gucci Gang.
just just tone deaf through the whole thing.
Just rambling.
So amelodic. It's awful, but it wins.
As much as this isn't anything that I would listen to, I'd throw it up there with Psycho from Post Malone. If this is your jam, then I recommend it.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, I mean, lyrically, it's got some strong things in it, but I mean, you're talking to a guy who listens to metal that basically touches on the same topics.
Sure.
So lyrically, I can't fault him for some of the things that he talks about. So, if this is your jam, as the kids say, yeah, I recommend it. Certainly.
Yeah.
So, but, like
Play it in the car with grandma.
Yeah. I mean, I would if I had a grandma.
Yeah, and I mean, that's sort of my theme for this week, and not to get too ahead, but next week is, I would say the majority of the songs, there's not a whole lot of substance to them. I mean, this one, obviously, with the social commentary on it, like, there's a lot there. But in terms of how the songs are, I would say, produced and structured, it's more for that mainstream appeal. So it just kind of, I think it appeals to people who are just looking for something that sounds good. And I think it's cool that he goes into a lot of, like, deeper themes, because some people are just going to listen to it that one time on the radio and not think about it.
Yeah.
And they're just, but they've put it in this really interesting formula. I would say similar to that in Gucci Gang in terms of it's easy to digest, it's easy to remember, it's catchy.
Yeah.
But then he is, unlike in Gucci Gang, actually he's talking about some deeper thematic kind of stuff, like things that are what I would call real world problems outside of
a little more substance.
Outside of I ran out of cocaine for my bitches.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say there's a little more substance to it. So, but yeah,
I would say it has the most substance out of all three.
Yeah.
It kind of, like, all three definitely share that commonality of, like, having a couple of non sequiturs looping back to how you're the shit. Kind of does that. It definitely does this to a lesser degree in this song. Gucci Gang was obviously the the biggest perpetrator of that. But yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward list. I didn't come into this with, like, great expectations of how you would respond, but hopefully
it was a challenge.
Hopefully it's informative in terms of like where popular music's at right now.
Yeah. And it was, like I said, it was very interesting to go through these 3 songs. And yeah.
kind of a roller coaster.
It was a roller coaster. I think it's hilarious as we get into the last song that I gave you that you gave me like these songs that don't really have a lot of meat on their bones, just like radio songs, and I threw like 3 like deep riveted songs.
I needed an extra week on it, actually.
They got deeper as we went in, and those were in order on purpose, which I'm glad you followed the order. But
always.
So, which I guess we will put a bow on this.
Wrap this puppy up.
This baby. So the last song I gave you is a very interesting song, and I'm gonna be honest with you. The only reason why I threw this one in here was because I love this song and I wanted you to listen to it.
Okay.
It fit the category of what we're doing, and but the song is it's by Overkill from their 1996 album The Killing Kind, and the song is The Morning After, Private Bleeding. It's a very and I almost feel like I should preface our discussion with this song.
Okay.
To just say that this is just a piece of art, and that we don't condone the subject matter that is actually in this song.
Oh,
because it does have kind of a deep subject matter. So just for the viewers, this is not something that we condone.
I would like to point out the same thing for Gucci Gang. Just to cover my ass.
I just thought that was.
I thought that was needed not be said. So just to cover my ass.
That was just but this is a beautiful song. So, but at least in my mind, yeah, this was during Overkill's '90s tenure where they're being less thrash and more straightforward heavy metal.
Okay.
And obviously, you know this now by listening to the song. As far as vocally, they pull off thrash better than they pull off their ballads.
2 different singers, though.
No.
That was one guy?
One guy.
That's impressive. Okay.
And you saying that means you already got the gist of the song right there.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay. So this was my challenge, was to figure out what this is about, and this is my Achilles heel, is interpreting.
But you're already halfway there because you thought it was 2 different people singing.
Yeah.
And that
was the same guy?
Same guy.
That's pretty impressive. Like, I wouldn't say his execution in the softer stuff is as... I can tell where his wheelhouse is.
Oh, yeah.
To put it nicely, because I do think he did a good job. That's impressive. Like, that is actually... I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, the same guy.
Yeah.
That was intentional. He was playing 2 parts in that song.
Yeah.
So one voice was, and I shouldn't be, I should let you tell me if you figured it out first. I'm sorry.
So I kind of got the two perspectives. It has to do with somebody killing themselves, and then somebody else's response to it. So that's like both of the, like, so one person dealing with the ramifications of the suicide, one person leading up to the suicide. And that would be in order, morning after, and then the private bleeding. And they do spell morning as in early morning, not as in grieving.
No, it's spelled as grieving.
Is it on yours? Let me see it.
Yeah, it's spelled as in. Oh, you must have got. Yeah,
it wasn't on Spotify.
Yeah, it is
interesting.
It's spelled as mourning, like the mourning, like you mourn for someone after.
Yeah, because I remember you sent it to me that way. Hang on, just for solidarity.
Yeah, you're fine. All right, so I've kicked Brennan out, and it's
a solo show.
It's a solo show.
I recommend songs that I like and I talk about.
Tonight we're going to talk about thrash metal polka. Okay, but yeah, it's probably incorrect on.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
I couldn't find it for a while because you had. That's one of those pesky poetry classes I had way back when. That was like one of the big early tropes was how you spell morning.
And
so that was kind of weird. Luckily, I was able to kind of pick up on, like, I didn't actually know coming into this if I was right. I'm glad I was on the right track. But it was hard to interpret because of the spelling on there. That's where I listened to the stuff. So I was like, well, I guess they're like doing they're mourning in the morning after this person killed themselves. So why'd he kill himself?
It sounds to me like it was maybe a nasty breakup.
Oh, okay.
So I think the other person talking is the one that, you know, because there's certain lines in the song like, I bleed through the morning after, I bleed so you will believe. And it's basically like they're doing this act so that the other person will believe that they still love them or whatever. I mean, it is what it is, but it's, you know, that's what they're doing. And, you know, there was a lot. I was just like going over the lyrics too. I was trying to think of another point that I can make without being too morbid. But I mean, it's a deep, dark song. I think it's a beautiful song. Now we both agree, vocally, Bobby Blitz can't really pull it all off.
Right.
But
fooled me.
But yeah, he's two people, but he's one person. Yeah. But you know, he doesn't have a voice for this, but I think he did a really good job. I think the message got across, and it's just one of those songs where, like, you know, everybody has like been in this song, either just in their mind or in real life, and it's just like, you know, it's very like, you know, cathartic. Of, you know, I totally messed up that word, but you know, you hear this going on, and it's like, oh, I got it. But
cathartic.
Yeah. Allergies.
Thanks, poetry. Poetry class. No, I think I would rather somebody go out of their comfort zone and go for the ball at the highest point than just stick to what they know and never really take any chances. And because I think that's like on the cusp of that is where like really good art kind of dwells, and maybe miss the mark on this one. But when people do that, when they do take chances, I think that's when really beautiful things like Gucci Gang happen. And no, that's what I believe.
This song's really actually about a guy who had to listen to Gucci Gang, and then he calls his old lady and said, "You know what?
I explode with self-inflicted wounds. I couldn't explode fast enough with self-inflicted wounds after listening to Gucci Gang."
Wasn't that a great line though? Where he says, "You know, I explode with self-inflicted wounds. I explode a self-inflicted fool."
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and like I said, like. Personally, I would have gone with the two vocalists just because I think he executes in the back end so well. And to know it's one person, it's like I almost would have like, because if you had a talent for singing like that front half, like if you had somebody like throwing a name out there like Freddie Mercury that could absolutely crush a vocal performance like that, I don't know if that's possible based on whatever their budget was or. There's probably 1,000 things standing in the way of that.
Yeah.
But again, I'm glad they went for it. I think it was a really, I can appreciate the amount of risk with it. It's a good song. I like it. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend it. I think if you're a fan of the band, like you'll definitely. Like
this is not one, and I think this is almost unfair to throw this, like the first Overkill song I've thrown at you.
Yeah,
is probably the most obscure like song in their catalog whatsoever. But yeah, and you're right. I think that for the other parts, they could have employed a female vocalist.
Yeah,
then it would have kind of. But 1996 Overkill, that was not the time for them to have any money.
Okay, that makes sense then. Because you know that's a thing that I think about with when I write songs is like there's a better way to do this. Like I probably I've written conversational songs where I should not be singing both parts.
Right.
But you know, there's like I said, 1,000 roadblocks to perfection. Like Taylor Swift's not going to come and sing on any of my songs at this point, so I can't fault Overkill for going for it. I'm glad they did. I think it's a really interesting song. I enjoyed it. You obviously, you know, have a special place for it.
Yeah, I love
I think that's cool. I think it serves its purpose for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, cool. But yeah, and I'll throw better Overkill stuff at you in the future.
Hey,
but it was
I like the start.
theme.
I like I said, this was cool because our first week, you threw pretty typical thrash stuff at me, and this was nice because I do like thrash metal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like all thrash metal all the time, but the theme of this week was, I think, without saying it directly, was bands stepping outside of their comfort zones, which is really cool for me. Like, I love it when bands do that. Some of my favorite, pieces of art come from places like that. Like, there's a fuck. I always am on the spot with the mics on, and I always fuck it up. But there's what is that? Never mind. I'm just gonna sound like an idiot. But long story short, there's a funk album where the band just took acid and they took a bunch of drugs and they recorded it in one session.
Oh wow.
It's really cool. I think it's just called Funkadelic. God damn it.
Funkadelic, like George Clinton's Funkadelic?
Yeah, it's George Clinton. I can't I didn't want to fuck up the name of the album. Hang on. I know the years. Free Your Mind. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah, by Funkadelic. George Clinton had so many variations on the project. It was just like, I just wanted to make sure I got it straight. It's really cool because basically what you had in 1970 were this group of guys with these crazy Motown chops. Just all did a bunch of drugs, and then they recorded this album in one day. It's just really... Is it a masterpiece? No, but it's it's got a really cool place in music history. And I like it when bands take chances. I like it when bands risk.
See what happens.
Yeah, they experiment. You try things. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But
you put your toe in the water.
Sure.
So yeah, and just for the record, I know it seems like I've been putting a lot of thrash. I do listen to other music, and I will be throwing other genres of music. You already know for next week.
This would be a very short-lived show. It goes thrash every week.
No. I've got other things, other rabbits to pull out of my hat. Obviously, so it was just my mind works in some kind of weird cycle.
No, I like how thematic you are. I'm kind of trying to do sort of the same thing.
Well, no, you picked 3 songs I hate this week. No, I'm kidding.
On brand.
Good theme. I like it. Let's not do it next week.
A basket full of lemons. Oh, man. You're in for a ride next week.
Yeah. I've already, we won't get into it, but yeah, next week is going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
So
I structured it in much the same way. So.
And I tried to do something different with you. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm aware of what you've done differently. I don't know why I'm saying it like I'm not aware of it.
I will throw this in. So I was talking to my brother the other day, and he's in the metal, my little brother, the one you met. And this is coming up soon, I hope. He was like, you need to start checking this out. There's bands in Europe that are starting to incorporate the hurdy-gurdy into thrash metal.
Oh, okay.
I'm
like the hurdy-gurdy, the instrument?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm like, oh.
That's really weird.
Well.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Let me get my shovel and dig deep.
What's a hurdy-gurdy?
It's
like
thing,
an elaborate...
crank it.
Yeah, it's like an elaborate accordion kind of.
Yeah, with a crank. And usually, it's like... The smaller versions are what they would play when the monkey walks around and gives you it, but it's bigger. The only mainstream song I can think of that has a hurdy-gurdy in it is Metallica's Low Man's Lyric. That has a hurdy-gurdy. It's off the Reload album.
Okay, not aware of either of those things.
They're a band. They're from San Francisco. They came out in 1981.
I was trying to think of a lead singer who is not James Hetfield.
Dave Mustaine.
Dave Mustaine,
yeah. It was Dave Mustaine's old band.
It was his first project.
It was his first project, yeah. He fired all those guys and sent them away, and then he formed Black Sabbath.
When did Jimmy Page join?
He was there with Dave Mustaine.
Oh, okay. So pre-2006.
Yeah. But
Honestly, half the time when I talk about music and names come up or band names come up, I feel like I'm saying what we've just said because I don't know what I'm talking about. As somebody who's as invested in music as I am, you'd think I would pay attention more, but I just don't.
It's not like you're a musician or anything.
No. I spend my time focused on other things. Like dissecting Gucci Gang.
like this podcast in the end.
Like this podcast.
No, Jimmy Page was in Megadeth right before he formed Queen. So
Queen's a really cool rap group. I thought, bringing in, young talent and...
Yeah, I think they really... Jethro Tull is my favorite trap hip-hop band ever.
I love Cat Stevens.
Yeah. I mean, ever since he left Iron Maiden, I think he's done so much better for himself.
Such a shame he lost all his hair.
I know.
Dude, put a bow on it. We're going to talk about your ghost hunting escapades. So you went today's Saturday, last Saturday.
No, I went the 16th, was it Tuesday?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went Tuesday.
And you ghost hunt during the day?
Sometimes I have to, just because of time restraints and trespassing restraints.
Yeah.
And the wife not wanting me out alone in the dark at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was just a beautiful day, and probably one of the first beautiful days that I was free in a while. So I went to one of my favorite places right now, Laurel Grove Cemetery. And I started editing all the video and everything, and I had so much material. This is probably the most active investigation I've ever had.
Okay.
So I got one edited down. I put one video up, and I actually have to put all the good stuff. Unfortunately, is coming on the second video on my YouTube channel. But
which is
the Humphrey. It's because it has random stuff on there. I mean, but yeah, it was very active. I was actually having conversation towards the end of me leaving. In fact, I was trying to leave, ended up staying about 30 more minutes because this conversation was continuing through one of my apps where they speak, to where they were like, and I'm not giving anything away, but it was like telling me they were going to follow me home.
Is that why the camera malfunctioned?
It could be.
Oh my god!
And I was
we gotta get a ghost-free camera at some point. That's my new investment.
And I was like, and I was just asking it because I talk to it, just like people, because they're people. I was like, why do you want to follow me home? And they said, bored.
Oh God!
I was like, well, you know what?
Yeah,
that makes sense. You're just hanging out here all day.
Right.
But it kept on, and then finally it told me I needed to leave.
You got bored with the conversation?
I guess so.
Did it follow you home, you think?
I don't know. The only thing is, when I left the cemetery, I didn't go straight home. I was on my bike. I didn't go straight home. Mm-hmm. So if it attached itself to me, it probably dropped off the next place.
That's what I would do. I would stop at the wormhole, try to get that ghost.
That's actually where I stopped, because Trish was there. And I was telling her about it. She goes, don't bring anything home.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to tell. We're at our house because there's so much noise around us. Mm-hmm. So, but it was like, kept wanting to follow me home. And then I was like, well, if you're evil or malevolent, you don't come home with me. And then there was a few other choice words. And I was like, all right, we got to get some things straight. No, you're not coming. But it was a lot of the voices and a lot of feelings. I was getting chills, and and then once it was it said, look behind you. So immediately I'm looking around, and it said, and one time it said, come find me. But it's I'm in an open cemetery. Now it was where I was standing, in the middle of rows of headstones, and it kept calling out names. Mm-hmm. Well, it called out one name, Charles. And I'm not kidding you, from me to that wall were 2 headstones, people whose name was Charles. Don't worry about that.
I don't like that with what we're talking about here. Got a third person in the room. So you
can stay here.
I feel like most people, myself included, had the assumption that all this had to be done at night, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
You can just do it. They're awake in the day.
You get more More at night if it's a place that's populated during the day.
Okay.
Now, bear in mind, I was the only person in the cemetery.
Right.
There were no tourists. There were nobody in the cemetery. And I choose a cemetery, and you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's off the beaten path.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
It's big, too.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Nobody ever goes to it.
No.
Except me.
You're the only one.
I'm the only one there.
I didn't realize it was open to the public.
Yeah.
You just walk in.
You're going in. Yeah. So
where do you go in on, like, off of Anderson Street?
I come right in off Anderson.
Yeah.
And
It's really pretty.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I've got one spot.
I want to go to it now, but
Oh, you're going. No. I actually have a friend that touched base with me the other day, and he's got a spot near his house in like my area. And he was like, yeah, we have to check it out. I have a friend that used to live here, and that street is so haunted he won't even come visit. I'm like, when are we going?
Right, yeah.
So I'll try to get the second video edited up and, you know, see what I can find. Usually after I get them edited and put them on YouTube, I'll watch them again to look for things that I didn't see. Because when I'm filming, you know, I've got the camera down here and, you know, the different spirit boxes are talking to me. So I'm having to pay attention to 20 things at once.
Yeah.
And looking around and see if I actually physically see anything.
Yeah.
Which I have never like physically seen anything, but just the conversation that was going on. This is the most conversation I've ever had in all my time doing this. So I was really getting excited. It was hard for me to leave, and finally I was like, all right, I've got to leave because I'll just stay here all night.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun. I can't wait to take you.
Yeah, I'm getting less and less sure about it because this was before I knew they could like follow you home. I don't like that.
Yeah, they can.
I don't like that at all.
Well,
I'm just gonna stop at a bunch of places I go here. I was like on the we get done at Colonial Park and I just stop at that fire station right. Here we are, home sweet home.
This is where I live.
Yeah. Drop it off at my grandma's house and then head home.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do that to her. That's nice. That's
I mean, you know, it's the only place they have a key to. So
oh well.
I guess I could do my parents' house.
Well, they don't really need the key. They don't use doors.
How do they? So.
Well, they don't have a physical body. They just.
But they can like touch shit and move.
Poltergeist can move stuff. Yeah.
Okay. I forget the categories.
Yeah, but nothing like. I didn't use the little camera that shows the stick figures because there was too much going on. But the talking to me was a lot.
Well, that's cool. We'll we'll put a link to the two videos.
Yeah,
when we do this in the description, so people can go and find out.
See all that spooky stuff.
Yeah, and you just do like straight playthroughs.
Yeah. Now with my new editing software, I can cut out a lot of the video footage when nothing happens.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more condensed.
Okay.
It's not just like 20 minutes of nothing.
Yeah.
So it's more these I can chop up better.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't. I was holding off on watching it just because I wanted to go and experience it the first time, and I'm pretty sure now if I watch any of it, I'm not gonna go.
Don't watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good experience. I'm ready to go back out there and
kind of lit a fire for you. What makes you want to keep doing it?
Yeah, it's addictive, and plus you're outside in the beautiful weather, and there's nobody there, nobody around alive.
Yeah. And
my little base of operations that I use, this is the second time I've been in the same spot, and because it was so active, it was like, okay, well, let's see what happens. Yeah. Somebody was talking to me.
You do better with dead people.
I like them a lot better.
You understand them better.
I do. I get it.
Now that you have some fire in your belly about it, so wanted to give you this, The Ghost Ways. My uncle wrote this book.
This was the one you were telling me about.
So my uncle, much like me, way more skeptical in terms of believing in that kind of stuff. Even I think it's one of those things I don't understand it, so I just don't want to think about it. So this is told by my aunt Kung. It's mainly told through her parents because she was really young at the time. She does come up in the story. So essentially, the family lived in South Thailand. This is in the 70s, and they had an encounter with some malevolent spirits. And I think it's one of those things. It's this day and age when you have things like ghost hunting shows and you have like, I mean, honestly, like just so many misconceptions about this kind of thing brought on by pop culture. You kind of just tend to summarize everything the same way and just, it's all bullshit kind of things. It's different. And obviously I have a little bit of bias because it's my aunt and because my uncle wrote the book, but there's just such a added layer of authenticity knowing who she is as a person and knowing how the family is that she comes from. Like they're not making any money off this. Like this is just their story. It's just, you'd be really hard pressed to meet these people and then try to figure out their angle. You know what I mean? Like, because there isn't one. Right. They just, it's a really creepy book. So
awesome.
Hope you like it. It's pretty short, pretty sweet. And I read it, I want to say like right around when it came out. I think it came out in 2009. So maybe I read it like 2010, like 11 years ago, and it freaked me out.
Oh, wow.
That's why I have such a weird response to some of the stuff you're talking about is like, I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical for my own mental sake. I don't like thinking about it. I don't want to spend any energy thinking about that stuff because I don't understand it. I don't want to get involved with it. And like, but anytime I hear stories like it, it's like, well, I mean, this person really has nothing to gain from this story. I'll give you an example. My mom has a friend. She's the sweetest woman. She's lived in this house down kind of near President Street, the extension, kind of over in that general area. I don't want to blow up her address, but she has a ghost, and she's talked about it, and she has nothing to gain from it. I mean, she works a normal job. She's not out there talking to ghost hunters. But she has a friendly little ghost that hides things from her and things like. She was telling a story one time where she had a wedding to go to or something, so she was looking for her mother's pearls she was going to wear to this event, and she was looking for them the night before, couldn't find them, so she just kind of out loud statement was like, hey, and she's had interactions with the ghost up to this point, and she's like, hey, just want to let you know I'm going to this thing tomorrow. I was going to wear my mother's pearls. If you have a chance, if you wouldn't mind, putting them back so I can find them, because she couldn't find them. And went to bed that night, middle of the night, book falls off the bookshelf in the bedroom. And she's, that happens all the time. This doesn't really faze her. She goes over to put it back, and in the spot where the book fell were the pearls. Oh, so I hear stuff like that, and I know it's weird. It's hard because it's obviously it's not like there's no bias. I know the woman, and I have a lot of faith in her story. But it's really tricky when you don't want to think about that kind of stuff.
Right.
So. But anyway, cool. I hope you like the book. I hope you enjoy your ghost hunting and you have fun with Casper and
I will.
Dean and.
Well, I had a lot of names thrown at me, so.
Oh yeah.
And like one time they were like, "How old are you?" I was like, "We're getting personal now." Of course, my reaction was
physically or mentally.
How old do I look?
47.
Ouch.
It's a ghost.
True.
They ain't got good eyesight for that kind of thing anymore.
Yeah. Maybe they recognized me. I had the beard when I was there before.
That's true. Do you think you're more likely to come back as a ghost if you spend this much time in this kind of world?
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so.
See, I'm on the opposite end. I hope the lights just go out. I don't want any heaven, hell. I don't want any of it. Just.
I'd like to be able to come back and just wander around. I feel like it would be interesting for me to see it from the other side. As someone who is actively trying to make some kind of communication with spirits, I would be very curious to see, the other side of the mirror.
Okay.
So hopefully I will get to. I've already told Trish, I was like, I'm going to haunt you. You're not getting remarried. I'm going to be here the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Just ruining the mood every time.
Who's that guy?
Like, putting on soft music, it always somehow switches to Motorhead.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, hey, that guy's younger than me. Wait a minute. But yeah, it'd be kind of cool, and just to see what it looks like from the other side.
I bet you, like, experiencing eternity that way, you get fed up with people real quick. If you think about all the foot traffic in Savannah,
I'm already fed up with people.
You'll have to get buried in Laurel Grove.
Well, I think yeah, or somewhere cool like
something quiet.
Maybe like somewhere else.
Arlington. You gotta go surf.
Unfortunately, I'm getting cremated, so it's just like.
Can you come back as a ghost if you're cremated?
Well, that doesn't. What happens to your body it doesn't really.
It's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant.
Oh, okay. I thought you got the box in the ground and then you get like a 6-foot perimeter. That's your afterlife. I don't know the rules, so.
I don't. I think
is there a guidebook or like
the guide for the recently deceased.
Yeah. I should write a cookbook based on this.
Yeah. I don't really know what the rules are right now, but I'll let you know when I know.
Yeah, that's a cool just sort of quick fire idea. It's like a rule book for the undead.
I'll tell you what. After I'm dead, I will make sure to come see you at 3:00 in the morning. I'll wake up and go, Brennan, I got the rule book.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, because I'll be awake because I'm a ghost
all the time.
So I'll get bored.
You don't even get a nap.
We can still do the podcast. It'll be weird, but
yeah,
but we can do it when I want to do it, which would be 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Just like shaking you.
Right at the height of your powers.
Like you can't wake up. Let me slam the door a few times.
Does it work like solar power? Does the sun have to be out a specific amount of time for you to function at night?
I don't know.
That's directly correlated to how heavy an object you can pick up, or like your physical body when you died is like how cool you can be.
I hope my physical body's thinner when I'm a ghost.
Yeah.
Maybe a little younger.
One can dream.
Somebody was some kind of joke about, be careful what you leave the house in because your ghost is what you were wearing when you died. So if you're wearing something stupid or uncomfortable.
I think it should be like a Vegas slot machine. So like you get your like age, your weight, and then like some cool characteristic.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I got 60 fat and I can scream really loud. I don't know.
I don't know how it works.
You can speak Spanish when you're dead.
Well, great.
Superpower like that, yeah.
I won't be able to talk to my wife. She won't understand a word I'm saying. I'm trying to talk to my husband, but some Spanish guy keeps talking to me.
So we'll put links to the ghost stuff.
Yeah, we'll pop those up there and
podcast and
hope
you enjoyed this week's music. I know I did.
It was
you're gonna hate next week. See, I've looked ahead, so I'm perfectly fine with where we're going for next week. If this week was hard, next week will be just as hard.
I at least know what I'm getting into because of the music that I've got for next week.
Yeah.
Because it's something that the wife listens to
right,
already.
Right. This is essentially, I put one in there that I view as the Gucci Gang of country. So
great.
It's that, there's an overarching theme. So
I'm going to get you one of these weeks.
I know. I'm waiting for it.
It's going to be like fake deep cuts, and it's just going to be the most horrible thing.
It's going to be like a 28-minute song.
Yeah.
It's going to be real avant-garde.
Yeah.
Picture music with no instruments.
Like that scene from Walk Hard where you've seen that.
Yeah,
where he's got like farm animals in the studio. He's trying to make the perfect album.
Yeah. I'm hearing more didgeridoo. 50,000 didgeridoos. I love that movie.
That's a great movie.
So I tried to get Sam to watch it, and she didn't quite get it because I don't think that was kind of the era I grew up in, was when all those biopics were coming out, like Ray and Walk the Line, and so it's like it's real obvious criticisms of those movies, and that's why it's so much fun. Not to like explain the joke, but
right, yeah.
I love one of my favorite lines in that movie is he's going on to perform at his high school like talent show or whatever, and his mom's like crying. She's like, "I'm just so proud of you. You learned to play the guitar so good without even a sense of smell." He's like, "It's okay, Mama. I learned to play by ear."
Yeah.
I just love it. That's such a good movie.
It is. I need to go back and watch
We'll
that.
put a link to Walk Hard in the description of this video.
Yeah.
Walk Hard, and then I love John C. Reilly. He's
in the right roles. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Well, I think we slapped a pretty
All right.
nice bow on this puppy.
This is a good way to end it.
Looking forward to more ghost hunting
Yep.
expeditions, and maybe I'll join you on one of them.
You owe me.
I'm second guessing now. So anyway, thanks guys. Out.